This is so weird because I like never film like talk videos here. I only film like makeup videos here because the background's like a bit busy, so it's hard to like focus. But I swear to God, like this spot right here is like the Illuminati. Like this, like the lighting from my patio and the lighting from my makeup thing when it's set on a certain like setting, like it just creates the perfect lighting, or like as close to perfect as I can get. Cause like if I turn it up, it's like a bit too yellow, but if I turn it like right off, it's like a bit too cool. But if I get it like right in the middle, it kind of looks like I'm tanned a little bit. Like it hits my highlights better, I feel like. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Let me know how you feel on my lighting situation, which has nothing to do with anything. Hi, how you doing? So today we're gonna be talking about some drugstore dupes, like drugstore. These weren't all bought at like a legitimate drugstore. Okay, so we're gonna be looking at dupes, which are like cheaper versions of high-end products, but that like still work well. Maybe not as well, but still comparable. Do you know what I mean? Also, blue hair. This is probably gonna be the first video you guys see of me with my blue hair. Not sure if there'll be another one because I am thinking of dyeing it back to blonde, just because it's not really showing up on camera, but my roots are very like yellowy, greeny kind of. And I bleached them before I put the blue in, but for some reason the bleach I have now isn't bleaching my hair, like my roots properly, even though it's the same stuff I had as before. I digress from that whole situation. So one of the first products that I'm super pumped that I found is this Nivea Nourishing Day Cream. I literally found this at my drugstore, at my grocery store, and it comes in like a little square box. And it works so well as a moisturizer for me. I have like super duper dry skin, and this is like awesome. It doesn't make me break out. It has SPF 15, an FPS 15. I don't know what that is. FPS? Leave in the comments below. I'm sure once I see it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that, but it's just not coming to me right now. Anyways, this is very comparable to the Clinique's moisturizing night surge mask that I rave about all the time, except instead of having that one for $50, this is $10, which is way more reasonable than $50. The only thing is, like, if you use this, I would use a mattifying foundation, because in pictures I have seen that SPF makes your skin shiny because it's like a sunscreen, right? So it's a bit reflective, but just put on a mattifying foundation over top of this if you are going to be taking lots of pictures, like for grad, or I don't know what people take pictures for, but you know, selfies for days. But yeah, just make sure you use a mattifying foundation and you will be good to go. If you have like oily skin, I'm not really sure if this would be the best for you, because it's a very like thick, creamy consistency, which is what I like. I can't have runny moisturizers because they just don't do anything for me. Like, they basically wipe right off. Like, I need something that's going to get into my skin and make it very like plump and moisturized. Another thing that I find that this product does is it makes your skin tacky. Not after you put on the foundation, but before, which is what helps foundation stick to your skin. Now, this is what Nikki Tutorials has been raving about, and so I got it and I loved it. But I find that this Nivea Nourishing Day Cream also does the same thing. It also makes my skin very tacky. For some reason, they both still give me equal amount of tackiness on my skin, which is nice, because instead of buying this and the Clinique overnight surge mask thingy, which together I think this is like around $11 or $8, somewhere in there, plus the $50, so like we're talking almost $60 now. I can just get this for $10 and it does both, which is nice. Now we're gonna move on to foundations. I have found two foundations that I have used and think like they're pretty legit for a drugstore. The first one is Joe Fresh. If you have like oily skin, I don't think this will be that good for you. This stuff, the only downfall I say to this is like you have to powder it. Like the minute you put it on, it's very like wet still, and it feels wet until you like face powder it and dry it. It stays on quite well. This Joe Fresh foundation I was fairly impressed with. The only thing is like the runniness, not like the runniness, but when after I put it on and my face is wet, like my face kind of gets itchy in spots, so I have to like poke my finger, but it's not like, my skin doesn't get red and it doesn't like stay itchy throughout the day. It's like just after I put it on and it's got like that wet feeling, my face is like, just doesn't like it. So I don't know, if you don't like that feeling or if you have really oily skin, I'm not really sure how this would work for you, but I don't mind it and I'll definitely still use it. But for the summer, I did want a different foundation than this one just because I didn't want to have to do this and powder every time. So I also went and got this Maybelline Dream Velvet foundation. Now this stuff is more of a mousse, it's not a liquid foundation. The Joe Fresh foundation I believe was about $16. And this one I believe is about $18, so pretty comparable, especially since I've bought in like Styla and, or is it Stila? Oh, maybe Stila. Oh, like, I never remember, like literally, like I just can't fucking remember what that's called. Like, c'est la vie. And I've bought in like MAC foundations. I bought MAC like quite a while ago, but they're like in the $50 range. That foundation is like more than double this. So that's crazy. The only thing that I really do want for like a name brand foundation, I'm saving up for the, I think it's the Marc Jacobs foundation. It's supposed to be like super full coverage. I don't need full coverage, like I have fairly clear skin, but I just want at least one really good full coverage foundation for like me, because sometimes I just want to go fucking ham. The Joe Fresh foundation you can build up a little bit. I have done that with it and it not have any bad repercussions, but this one I haven't had good luck building it up because it is a mousse. Instead of using a beauty blender, which is what I use for liquid foundations, I use a brush to like buff it out. Because it's not exactly like liquidous, the sponge can't soak it up properly, and so it doesn't like, my voice is cracking because I've been talking so long. Oh. Yeah, since it's not like completely liquidous, the sponge doesn't suck it up as well as it does a liquid foundation. So instead, I'm buffing it out with a dense, very soft brush and just going in circular motions and sometimes lifting my brush off and just doing swipes like wherever I need it. And you basically have to really buff it out until it's not streaky. I don't mind it. This is a different technique than I've ever done before. I can't use brushes at all with liquid foundations because they're always streaky on my skin because my skin is on the drier side. But with this, for some reason, like after I moisturize and then put this on, it usually buffs out really nicely. They both give, like I'd say the Joe Fresh, because you can build it, you can give it more to like a medium full coverage, whereas this one you can't build it as much, so it gives more of a sheer to medium coverage. It basically just evens out your skin. Like I can still see when I've got like blush and bronzer and like concealer on now, but just when I put the foundation on, I can see a bit of like my redness come through on my cheeks, but just like a tiny bit, and that's usually where I put my blush anyways, so, oh my god, my voice, girl. That's where I put my blush anyways, so it's not like the biggest deal to me. And if you did want more coverage like around like the nose area and stuff, you can always use concealer before or after. I always use concealer after. I've never really used concealer before, but do your thing, honeys, do your thing. So yeah, if you get this one, I would definitely say buff it out. And again, if you have oily skin, I'm not really sure how this will set for you, but I just really wanted to try something that I could buff out with a brush because I've never gotten to do that before. I've been using this for about 5 days now and like I'm fairly impressed with it. The only thing I'd say is a downfall is that you can't build the product up, so if you did want full coverage, like this is not doing it for you. If you put too much on, it just looks streaky. So now I'm gonna move on to concealers. I have 2 concealers to talk about. I have CoverGirl's Ready Set Gorgeous concealer I'm going to talk about, and I also have Maybelline's Master Conceal to talk about. I'm like quite impressed with Maybelline. Like Maybelline, you and me, we could talk. Let's talk about the CoverGirl one first. This is a good example of like Sometimes a product isn't doing what you want because you're not doing it in the order it should be done. Like for example, if I put this on first and then try to put a foundation like slightly over it to blend it out, it becomes very patchy. But if I put this on last, and I can't apply this directly to my skin, like if I apply it to my skin and then buff it out, it's very patchy. But if I apply this directly to my beauty blender and then apply it to my skin, it goes on very evenly, it's very brightening. You do have to be careful not to go over it too much with the beauty blender, or again, it will get patchy, but just add more product on your brush, wait for it to set a little bit, and then add more on, and you can totally blend it back out. But I was fairly impressed with this. I was impressed with the brightening that it did. I think this was the ivory or something like that. I'm basically ivory, like for life. What's up? Here we go. But you do have to put this on like last, basically. And you can't like touch it too much after either, or it will rub off, if that makes sense. But I found that with almost like every concealer and foundation, like I can't really touch it afterwards. Like I can't touch my face that much after I've done it, or else it like smudges off. And I think that's partly because my skin is so dry that it's so dry that it won't hold the product on. The next one, because that one's starting to run low, I'd use that one more as just like a brightening rather than like a pimple cover up, like brightening under the eyes, the top of the chin, the forehead. And now we're gonna talk about Maybelline's Master Conceal by Face Studio. I actually really like this. Again, I bought this at the same time as this, so I've been using these together for about 5 days now. And I use this with a beauty blender because it is liquid, both of these are. This is like a squeeze tubey kind of thing, whereas the other one's a doe foot applicator. I'm cool with either, honestly. That one's a bit more of a pain in the ass because it's doe foot and I have to apply it to my beauty blender, so it's like a little awkward. I have to like get the product and then like tap it on the beauty blender and then get the product, and yeah, I don't know, it's a little awkward. This one's super good. I really like it. It blends out nicely. It doesn't get patchy like the other one. It's not as brightening, I would say, as the CoverGirl one, but it's definitely covers the same amount. I obviously have it on today. It blends really well with this mousse foundation, and I wasn't really sure if it would. But yeah, I was like fairly impressed with this. And this was also, I want to say like $9, somewhere in there. I'm not entirely sure on these prices. I might be like $4 off, either above or below, I'm not really sure. But like it wasn't, again, crazy or anything, and I'm quite impressed with this. I might actually go back and get one that's not a brightening one, because when I always get concealer I just get brightening ones for like under my eyes and all that, but I'd like to go back and get one that matches my skin color so that I can cover up like redness with it, because I think it would be really good for that. So just because it like blends out so nicely and it doesn't get like patchy or anything, I think it would be really good for like around my nose and other things like that. But I think that's all I'm going to talk to you about today. Please like this video if you want me to do more of my favorite like drugstore products. Yeah, just let me know if you want me to do more of these, or go through some of the techniques I use for like these different foundations to make them work, because I do have like 2 totally different routines for these two to make them good for my skin. Let me know below. And yes, if you guys would be so awesome as to check out my NYX Face Award entry. I'm just trying to get like as much views as possible for that one. Even if I don't get into the top 30, I think what I'm gonna do is follow the NYX challenges, that's the word I'm looking for, and make videos for them anyways, even if I don't get in. I think that would just be like a fun thing to do. But yeah, if you could check out my first entry video, that would be super awesome, and give it a good old like. Please follow me on my social media. I do a lot of looks on there that I don't get time to record, so if I do like a fun makeup look for a night out that I didn't have time to record, I will post it to my social media. You can go to, on Twitter, it's at KSBELLANGER, and on Instagram, Google+, and Tumblr, it's XOXOPrettyBitches. And on Facebook, it's www.facebook.com/TakeTheMadScientist. And yeah, I think that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you found it like useful in some way or another. I will see you pretty bitches in my next video.